Moms driving drunk with babies in the car, drunk drivers going the wrong way on the interstate.
Drunk driving is practically an epidemic in Wisconsin, and now there's a new push to address this problem by lowering the legal limit.
But will it keep us safe or just put bars out of business?
The I-Team's Steve Chamraz is here to tell us what he has learned. Steve.
Mike and Carol, Wisconsin made drunk driving illegal way back in 1911. Not like that's been much of a deterrent. So what about lowering the legal limit? When Martin Rodriguez hit and killed 2 people in 2011, he wasn't barely drunk. He was obliterated. His blood alcohol level was .206 at the moment he ran down a man and his mother on a Milwaukee street. When Leopoldo Gaitan drove onto I-94 the wrong way, he wasn't a little over the limit. He was almost twice it. He tested at .145 after a crash that killed 34-year-old Corey Damsky.
Their life is wiped out or they're seriously injured. That really troubles me.
It's those facts that motivate State Representative Jim Ott to fight for tougher drunk driving laws. And it puts him at odds with the state's powerful tavern lobby, which makes a piece of common ground shared by these two men very interesting.
.05 will give a few people a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's going to put a lot of our members out of business.
Both sides agree a lower legal limit is not the solution. That suggestion to change the legal blood alcohol content from .08 to .05 was floated last month by the National Transportation Safety Board. The feds say it will make everybody safer.
I guess I don't see it that way. I think that suggestion takes us in the opposite direction.
So what's driving all this pushback against .05? Part of it seems to be lessons we learned from the changeover to .08 and questions about whether that change really made that big of a difference. Has .08 made us any safer in Wisconsin?
I would say no.
While Madland clearly has an agenda, he may also have the numbers on his side. The I-Team pulled more than a decade worth of Wisconsin crash data and found this. When the legal limit was .10, the number of deadly crashes ranged from 244 in '96 to a peak of 297 in 2003. When the limit switched to .08 that year, the number did not budge. And when the number of deadly wrecks did drop, experts were reluctant to single out .08 as the reason why.
There's other factors that are involved in that for the economy and gas prices, for example.
And the numbers seem to bear that argument out as well. In 2008, as the economy crashed, the number of fatal wrecks involving a drunk driver fell sharply. By 2011, it was at 175, almost half the number from 8 years earlier. Pete Madland agrees other factors are at work here, not just the lower legal limit, and drivers are responding. Isn't it good for a little bit of fear to be in the back of people's minds when they have a beer in one hand and car keys in another?
I won't argue that, but I think that most people are there now.
Now, one other statistic working against a lower legal limit is .16. That is the average blood alcohol level of someone arrested for drunk driving in Wisconsin over the last 8 years. More than 3 times .05 and double the legal limit we have today.
How many were at right about .08?
It's a very small percentage. When you look at the numbers, it's a perfect bell curve centered on .16. It's only about 6 or 7% of the drivers who are right now at that legal limit.
Feds are pushing for .05. Is anybody in Wisconsin pushing for that?
Nobody in the state has signed on to this as the state standard yet.
Okay. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Steve.